Can we talk about something that is a rather big challenge for, I think, every one of us? What's the right way to deal with problems, for example, of someone standing on the street corner asking for money or asking for food or saying, I'm hungry? Or what about the one that shows up at church and they've got a great story to tell about how bad they're in need and they're asking for help? What's the right thing to do in those situations? Everybody that is a follower of Christ, I believe, wants to be benevolent, encouraging, helpful. They want to be one like the Good Samaritan that would reach out and risk even their own life to help somebody that is in need. But how many times are we really helping, and how many times are we enabling bad behavior? We want to be helpful, but I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to make things worse. No, there's an interesting thing in Scripture. I think Paul was dealing with it in 1 Timothy chapter 5. When he wrote to the church, or to Timothy for the church, and he was trying to explain to him the right thing for the church to do in helping people, especially widows that were in need in that time. And he said, first of all, you need to teach the families that if one doesn't provide for their own, especially those of their own family, they've denied the faith and become worse than an unbeliever. Sometimes the right answer wasn't to just provide the help. Sometimes the right answer was to teach a better way, to teach people what they ought to be doing in taking care of someone else. He then talked about who the church ought to take in and just become responsible for. And he said, if a widow, for example, is younger, under 60 years old, he said, and if she's done all these other things, like washed the saints' feet, cared for the needy, brought up children, and been one that is caring about others, then you need to look after that need in some special ways. But he said, again, if a widow, now watch this, this is talking about that one that is probably over 60 and struggling, and we need to remember that the lifespan in that day was quite a lot smaller than it is today. But he said, if one is that widow, verse 16, and they have family, let the family take care of it. Let not the church be charged, so that the church may take care of those that are widows indeed, that don't have anyone else to take care of them. Now, how does that fit with all this? Well, here's the point I want you to think about. I hear people say just pretty often, well, if the church would just do its job, then we wouldn't have to have all this benevolence, and there wouldn't be so many people out there who are homeless. And I don't believe that's right. I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe God ever intended the church to take care of everyone that is out there that is struggling. Number two, I think lots of times when we're handing out money to someone, we're doing them much more harm than good. Think about the person, even as a parent, think about the fact that if I have a child or a brother or sister or friend that is addicted to drugs, for example, and they're coming to me regularly wanting money, am I helping them if I keep giving them money? See, I don't think so. I think you probably are adding to their problem and helping them stay in that bad behavior for a longer time. Sometimes when people come and they have developed a great story, and you notice them as they move through the crowd, and with every person they've got that story to tell, and even though this one helps them, they're going to the next to get more. You need to begin to wonder, is this really a person in need, or is it someone who has developed their ability to take advantage of other people? And to give that kind of person money isn't helping them, And it is probably promoting that behavior when they will go out and tell their friends. Let me tell you, if you just go down to that church and you have a decent story to tell, you can get money galore from those people. The church is here to seek and to save the lost. And if we can save that person's soul in the process, thank God. But I don't want to add to their bad behavior by helping someone who is not trying and is not really in a problem situation at all. They've just decided that they'd rather work and work the crowd, if you were, or if you will, to get more money out of people than they had to go out and earn a living in some way. The church needs to be ones that help the widow indeed, but even then, do notice the fact these widows were part of that family. They weren't just somebody that had dropped off and had come here because they needed a new group to work on. I want to be benevolent. I want to be like Jesus. I want to be one that is like that Good Samaritan. But I also want to be careful that I'm not an enabler of bad behavior rather than someone that is helping the needy, that has that pure and undefiled religion to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction. There are just so many ways to help people who are really in bad, struggling situations that I don't want to waste my money and my ability by becoming an enabler of bad behavior rather than a doer of good.